Hello again, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this Saturday's edition of Alaska Weather. First day of the weekend on this 8th day of June, 2019, and most areas had a pretty nice morning and afternoon. Looking at the fire danger here, first graphic, not much change here. Still an area of high fire danger on the west side of the western Alaska Range there and part of the Kuskokwim Valley. Also, not quite as big as what I have drawn here, but the Point McKenzie area actually had high, there was quite an area of high to possibly even extreme fire danger in through there. So, but it doesn't extend too farther to the north because places like Willow, the Willow area had about half an inch of rain overnight last night, actually in the 12-hour period ending at 3 p.m. this afternoon. There was about half an inch there in a couple other locations to sit in the valley. And but that ended late or early this morning. That was pretty much over. Also, still that area there over the upper Tanana Valley or around the North Waitok area, just a small area, high fire danger. No change up here along the Yukon River and the Yukon Flats, except the extreme area kind of shrunk a little bit and reoriented itself just a touch. Moving on to satellite imagery today, you can see quite a bit of clear skies up there across the Yukon Flats, as well as the north slope to the eastern Arctic coast, Barter Island, Kaktovik, and Dead Horse, as well as New Exit, all reported clear skies this afternoon. Get back into the fog there around the central coast and then areas of on down to the southwest there toward Point Lay and into the Bering Strait, but nothing really widespread or heavy. You know, the usual stuff around Tin City and a little fog earlier at St. Lawrence Island. Generally, just cloudy over the Bering Sea with high pressure centered back here over the northwest part, and then remnants of a front out to the west. It's not even raining at Shimei anymore. It's weakened considerably and actually gotten pushed back to the west a little bit. A lot of low clouds here along the south side of the Alaska Peninsula, as you can see as the sun comes up there. Also some breaks here again. Bristol Bay, just west of the Pribilofs, and south of Kodiak, they had some fog in. That lifted to just low clouds this afternoon. You can see clouds all the way back across the Gulf of Alaska up into Prince William Sound. And mostly cloudy day over the southeast coast with lingering light rain showers scattered around. Amounts are very light, mostly in the few hundredths of an inch range today, earlier today. And Shelter Cove, they'll pick up 15 hundredths of an inch, and that was the heaviest amount I saw up there. Otherwise, again, showers and thunderstorms developing in this area of cloudiness from actually the Brooks Range. A couple of lightning strikes showed up there this afternoon, and then scattered down through the Koyukuk Valley, the Tanana Valley. Salsa had 2/3 of an inch of rain from a thunderstorm that passed by them around midday today as well. So some of those thunderstorms laying down soaking rains, pretty good rainfall amounts, but it's not all that widespread. It's more scattered nature, and so an area close by might not report anything. Otherwise, Copper River Basins, as I mentioned, scattered thunderstorms going on there. And on the chart today, we've got, again, this mainly the area here along the thermal trough up into the interior, with temperatures rising into the mid-70s in actually Stony River had 76 this afternoon, while Stony had 72. Cooler in the Susitna Valley today than it was yesterday on down toward Big Lake. But up in the Yukon Flats area, Chuck Yitzhak, 77 degrees. That was a warm spot in the state today. And much cooler here with the clouds and scattered showers over the Panhandle. Looking to the southwest, you can see the next system with the higher clouds already in across the Queen Charlottes. That tonight will spread rain up into the coastal areas of Prince of Wales Island, Heidelberg, maybe Craig Klawak, late tonight into early tomorrow morning. Otherwise, as this approaches, wind flow will become a little more offshore, so you should see some clearing, and whatever showers are around will end. And the North Gulf Coast, fog, low clouds possible right along the coastline, but partly cloudy inland. and a lot of debris clouds left over from the convection here, Cook Inlet, south central Alaska, but showers just about over here, even until you get up toward the Alaska Range, they'll just be scattered. Same thing for the interior. No change out over the Bering Sea, high pressure holding there with just the usual light winds, low clouds, areas of, and maybe possibly fog and drizzle. And then for tomorrow, that holds as well too. System off to the southwest, not making any headway. Clear skies out to the coastline there and maybe a little beyond here on the southwest coast, Bristol Bay. Dry, could see partly sunny skies tomorrow for Kodiak Island as well as the North Gulf Coast. Thunderstorms developing again, but it's more stable in areas west and south of the Alaska Range. So probably even showers will have a tough time developing here in that area tomorrow, but along the Alaska Range and along this trough axis here, a thermal trough, pretty good chance of seeing some thunderstorm activity again, and even small hail associated with it. And again, Brooks Range, thunderstorms. Actually, a thunderstorm could break out anywhere here over the central and eastern interior areas, and not a bad day once again for the North Slope. Could see sunshine there, and even the Arctic coast, although more of a northeast flow make it a little tougher, while the west side looks like it could clear out possibly for a mostly sunny midday and afternoon hours. Rain spreading northward here over the southeast coast. And then for Monday, that system kicks off and weakens, moves off into Canada there, and another surge comes up. Big upper level low about roughly in the position of this surface low, and that's got good southwest flow with a series of impulses of moisture coming up along with it, or waves. This is the second one, and this one will hang around a little bit longer and probably spread westward during the overnight hours on Monday, and by Tuesday afternoon that could be as far west as Turnagain Arm, maybe, definitely along the North Gulf Coast. So kind of a change in the pattern here showing up with that first one coming in late tonight and tomorrow, and then this one even a little more extensive. Otherwise, for Monday, thunderstorms kind of restricted now along this thermal trough. So this will be a zone that could see some pretty good rainfall amounts, but it'll be pretty narrow, and isolated thunderstorms up along the Brooks Range again, maybe a little more extensive here on the east side. And otherwise, partly mostly sunny, chance of afternoon showers, eastern Alaska Range, probably no showers at all in the Cop River Basin. And mostly sunny, Seward Peninsula, North Slope again, mostly sunny afternoon after the morning low clouds, but fog low clouds linger possibly anywhere along the Arctic coast. And here, the Bering Sea, actual change coming in. We actually have a genuine storm pushing into the western Aleutians there with that gradient. Could be gale force winds possible. But the moisture shield just edging up toward Shimei and Attu. So through Monday, it's mostly staying to the south, but you definitely see an increase in the winds out there for those western marine zones. Otherwise, light winds continue with virtually no gradient here over the central eastern Bering Sea, right down into the central and eastern Aleutians. But look out for some low clouds, fog, and drizzle that goes along with that pattern over the southeast Bering, specifically around the Pribilof. Some of that might slip on down to on Alaska, but that's just a possibility. And for lows tonight, 45 to 50 in the interior, mostly in the 40s to 45 to 50 over southern Alaska, upper 20s, lower 30s Arctic coast, 30s Bering Sea, 40s Aleutians, and 40s to lower 50s or maybe mid 50s for the Panhandle. Highs tomorrow, 50s to lower 60s here for the southeast coast. 75 to 80 again here in the northeast interior, mid 70s Tanana Valley, and 70-degree temperatures extending almost all the way out, or the 70-degree isotherm almost extends right to Kuskokwim Bay, and mid to upper 30s for the Arctic coast. Lows Monday morning, again, upper 20s, lower 30s along the Arctic coast, and mostly in the 30s over the North Slope, 45 to 53 in the interior here from the upper Yukon Valley. It's kind of following the valleys right on down toward the coastline. Then you fall into the lower 40s. Again, just a shade under 30 over the Bering Sea, mid 40s Alaska Peninsula, 45 to 55 for the Panhandle, followed by highs once again 75 to 80 for Monday afternoon here, maybe even into the low 80s in some locations if you get the sunshine. And that, again, 70s, even a degree warmer there at Bethel, may extend all the way out to the southwest coast, and upper 30s to lower 40s for the Arctic coast, south central Alaska, 65 to 74.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
First flying weather graphic for tomorrow morning. We've got IFR here, eastern Bering Sea, just grazing the coastline there in the Yukon Delta, and then Aleutians mostly central and western, and along and north. of the Fox Islands of the Pribilofs, VFR Bristol Bay, much of the interior, starting out with marginal VFR here over, along the Alaska Range, and IFR North Gulf Coast and into the range, as well as the Northern Panhandle in the afternoon. VFR conditions improve probably quite rapidly up here in the north as the approach of a front tends to make the wind flow a little more offshore there, so it'll be clearing out in the north, but deteriorating down south with IFR showing up over Prince of Wales Island. Good VFR in the interior, and the IFR almost pulling out completely off of the Arctic coast, that may be the central area there, and VFR right out to the coastline, and then the IFR holding over the Bering Sea and the central and eastern Aleutians with VFR for the Alaska Peninsula and most of Kodiak Island except the east side. And then for Monday morning, VFR again, Bristol Bay and along and even a ways off the coast there, almost Nunivak Island. Pretty good up there for St. Lawrence Island into the Chukchi Sea, IFR Eastern Beaufort Sea coast, VFR Gulf of Alaska, southeast, or all of the interior here into the Northern Panhandle, the usual IFR for the Bering Sea and the Aleutians, and again, the lowest conditions over the southern southeast coast, VFR to the north. And for the afternoon, that VFR pattern will shift up all the way to the border for the southeast coast with IFR lingering around Prince of Wales Island, VFR interior Alaska, IFR Eastern Beaufort Sea coast, and VFR here off the coast now even west of Nunivak Island, but the Pribilofs in the IFR zone as well as the central and western Aleutians. Passes Anatuvik and Adigan, both VFR again tomorrow. And for the Lake Clark and Merrill, starting out marginal and then becoming VFR, that'll be during the morning hours. And rainy, same pattern, maybe possibly marginal in the morning to start, and then VFR for the remainder of the day. And windy VFR start to finish. Isabel, VFR. Mintesta, same forecast. VFR, still risk of a thunderstorm. And for Tanita, VFR. Portage, starting out IFR, becoming VFR. So really improving conditions throughout the entire day, lowest in the morning, VFR. Into the afternoon, probably won't take until late afternoon, probably early afternoon possibly or sooner. And Chilkoot and White, marginal becoming VFR. Freezing levels showing, again, not much of a gradient here from the Bering Sea across all interior Alaska, and that results in the light wind flow in the absence of any jet stream wind speeds at the higher elevations. But there is some cooler air trying to sneak in up there along the western Arctic coast. See the 2,000-foot isotherm there, or level line has reappeared on the chart here. Otherwise, really just flat, 6,000 feet across the entire area. And for icing, the only significant area of icing will be possibly could be associated with that front and the moisture coming into the southern southeast coast of the light and isolated moderate rime type variety of icing above about 8,000 feet. And jet stream here, we've got, again, high pressure kind of pulling back to the west now over the Russian Far East, but still a weak ridge extending in over the interior here. So we've got weak westerly flow north side of the Arctic coast, although that is kind of nudging some chillier air down into the northwest areas. Southeast 50 over the western Aleutians, well to the south everywhere else here. 9,000 feet, high pressure interior, back over to the Russian Far East. Light variable winds under the ridge axis, 15 to 20 on the north side. Northeasterlies 10 to 20, mostly south of Kodiak and the Aleutians as well, and maybe 20 knots for the far western Aleutian areas. Southeast coast, though, with this system swinging up, 25 knot winds or maybe 25 to 30 knot winds here pushing into the area there, but lighter over toward the border. Taking a look at 3,000 feet. Again, that could see 30 knot winds at this elevation associated with this next storm. But again, dramatically lighter, back to 5 knots up toward Lynn Canal and Glacier Bay. Light here over southern Alaska, light and variable over the interior. And Bering Sea as well. 10 to this stronger wind field will stay south of the area. Could see 20 knot winds coming into the far western Aleutians, and turbulence not expected out there in the Bering Sea Aleutians or the interior, but look for some increasing light to isolated moderate chop here with the increasing winds along the southern and central southeast coast. And after the break, I'll be back with a look at the marine forecasts and sea ice conditions.
Hello. I'm a GOES-R series weather satellite orbiting 22,000 miles above Earth. I can see a lot of cool stuff from up here, and I take pictures of it with my spiffy camera that has 16 different settings. I have such good eyesight, I can see clouds, snow, smoke, smog, and ash, so I can warn you about dangerous conditions and help you avoid them. When storms are brewing, I watch them closely and help with hurricane, tornado, and flood warnings to help keep you safe. And my lightning mapper tracks lightning strikes way up in the sky, even through dark, dense clouds. I also help with search and rescue missions. I listen for distress signals from emergency beacons and tell search and rescue teams just where to find people who need help. But even when I'm keeping a close eye on Earth, I'm monitoring weather out here in space, too. I watch the sun for big bursts of energy, which send waves of radiation toward Earth that can affect power grids, block communication with planes, cause errors in GPS, and damage satellites. Space weather is also very dangerous for astronauts working outside the International Space Station. I warn them so they can get inside where they'll be safe. So the next time you watch a weather report or check your phone for the forecast, remember, that's me. So look to the sky and wave. I'll be here. Whoa! Things are looking pretty bad down there. But don't worry. I'm going to give weather forecasters a heads up and help you stay safe. I'm a GOZAR series weather satellite, and one of my jobs is to keep an eye on Earth's weather as I orbit above. But I'm 22,000 miles above Earth. How does your local weather forecaster know what I see all the way up here? First, I have to figure out what's going on. I point my special camera at the Earth and take pictures of the clouds I see below. My pictures show where the clouds are, but I also take lots of other notes about the clouds. For example, how high they reach into the atmosphere, how much rain they might cause, and when a severe storm may be forming. But I can't keep all of this information to myself. I have to share it with weather forecasters down on Earth. A big antenna is waiting for my call. Since I'm a satellite, I send my pictures and notes in a computer language of ones and zeros. Luckily, the antenna speaks my language. Computers connected to the antenna organize my notes and combine all of the pictures and cloud information and translate them into weather maps. They send a version of the maps back up to me. I'll hold on to these for later. Another copy of the maps is split into smaller pieces. This helps the maps move faster from one place to another. The map pieces are then sent for processing before being sent back up in the sky to a communication satellite. From there, the maps are picked up by antennas at the National Weather Service forecast offices in each region. There are more than 100 offices. I also take the maps that I received and send them out to companies that specialize in making the maps more colorful and better for viewing on TVs and computers. The colorful maps and the maps from the forecast offices then go to your local weather forecaster. The forecaster combines the information from these maps with lots of other information, like model forecast data and radar data, to make predictions about the upcoming weather in your area. And that's how I help you find out if bad weather is going to ruin your afternoon plans. You're welcome. Soon it will be my time to shine in outer space. I'm the GOES-R satellite. That stands for Geostationary Operational Environmental Satellite. And the R stands for my order in this series of weather satellites. Like my older siblings before me, I'll do a lot for watching weather, but I'm pretty special because I have a lot of new gadgets. I'm originally from Colorado, but my journey to space has a few stops along the way. I'll be shipped in a very special satellite shipping container to Kennedy Space Center. Moving me around is not easy. I'm over 18 feet wide and weigh 6,000 pounds. And then things get really exciting. I get loaded onto an Atlas V541 launch vehicle. A big rocket! Woo! After Atlas and I blast off together, my compartment separates from the launch vehicle and I continue to climb higher and higher. Then I break away completely and unfurl my solar panel and antenna. After that, I have to use my thrusters to get into just the right position, 22,000 miles above the ground and traveling 1.9 miles per second to keep up with Earth's rotation. And then I can officially start my job along with my fellow GOES sisters, where I take advanced pictures for more accurate weather forecasts, map lightning in real time, and improve the monitoring of the sun's activity. It's going to be so awesome! I can't wait!
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome back. Today's sea ice analysis. Not much different from yesterday. We still have this zone here that's still has some pretty heavy ice between the open area to the west and the one to the east here. And it looks like the only change, possibly this ice field here, might come south a little bit with some northerly winds, or actually maybe even forming some new ice. And this could do the same thing, but much lesser extent, since the water temperatures here are warmer than they are over in that zone. Moving on to the coastal water forecasts, that first system coming in, good small craft advisories. East to southeast 30 knots, increasing throughout the day here along the coastline, staying light up north there at about 15, but seas building to 12 feet. And southeast 20 for Clarence Strait, northeast 10, Stevens Passage, Lynn Canal, south of 15 with 3-foot seas. And then for Monday, northern Lynn Canal, southeast winds at 20, and then back down to 10 knots for Stevens Passage, but same direction, then kick it back up to 20 knots for Clarence Strait once again with 4-foot seas. And small craft advisories, after probably diminishing, they'll come back up, especially in the afternoon here as that next front and system affects the area. So 25-knot winds go for the afternoon hours with 8 to 9-foot seas. Prince William Sound, light east winds tomorrow, 10 knots, seas 2 feet. Light south winds for the eastern North Gulf Coast, and light east winds for the western North Gulf Coast. Otherwise, Barren Islands, Kamishak Bay, light winds from the south, 10 knots. Cook Inlet, south-southwest at 15 with seas running about 3 feet. And then for Monday, northeast winds 10 knots here for Cook Inlet, right on down into Kamishak Bay with seas running 1 to 2 feet. Northeast 20 here, Barren Island, 7-foot seas. Same forecast for the western North Gulf Coast. And the east side, the only differences are more easterly on the wind direction. Seas at still 7 feet and winds stay light in Prince William Sound. Kodiak Island, northeast, 15 to 20 knots tomorrow, and from Sitkinak to Castle Cape, northeast winds at 20 with seas running 8 feet. Bering Sea side of the peninsula, pretty light northerly breeze at 10, and King Salmon, Bristol Bay, south at 15 with 2-foot seas. Well, King Salmon's right there, not too far away. And for the Monday outlook, northwest winds for Bristol Bay at 10 knots with 2-foot seas. Winds stay light out of the north with slight seas here on the Bering Sea side of the peninsula. And from Cape Search up to Castle Cape, north at 20, and then northeast 20 on up to Sitkinak from Castle Cape. We got small craft advisories coming in. They're the east side of Kodiak Island, northeast at 25 with 8-foot seas. Fox Islands tomorrow, northeast mostly 15 knots, set more in the 20-knot range south of Unalaska Island, seas running 4 to 7 feet. Northeast at 15 here for Adak and Atka, turning east at 15, then gradually increasing to 20 knots west of Amchitka Island or Kiska on out to Attu. And for the Monday, that next system, finally a stronger one, pushing into the Aleutians here. That front still down to the south. Looks like east winds increasing to 35 knots in the afternoon, as the rainfall probably hold off until early evening. Anyway, small craft advisories here from, say, Kiska to roughly west of Adak. So Adak and Atka, you're still in the light wind area, east at 15. Fox Islands, north to northeast to east at 10 knots, except south of Unalaska Island, north at 20, 7-foot seas. Southwest coast tomorrow, light northwest winds, 10 knots. St. Lawrence Island, north at 20, north 15. St. Matthew Island, light winds out of the northeast for the Pribilofs. And then for Monday, north at 15 there for St. Lawrence Island, 10 to 15 knot northwest winds along the southwest coast, and southeast at 10 for St. Matthew, St. Paul, and St. George Islands. Eastern Beaufort Sea coast tomorrow, west winds at 20 knots, kind of localized there on the extreme east side, and then north at 15 here for the central and east side. Northeast 15 from the for the western coast all the way down to Cape Thompson. Cape Thompson to Wales, north at 20. And that comes down to about 15 knots here from Wales to up to Cape Thompson. Then you got 15 knot winds here on the western coast and 10 knot light easterly breeze on the central coast, and then actually light breezes continue all the way over to Demarcation Point. For tonight, again, thunderstorms like last night diminish and the showers start tapering off and mostly over the mountainous terrain toward morning. Rain pushes into the Panhandle late tonight, pushes northward tomorrow, and tomorrow more convection north and west of the Alaska Range, nothing to the south. And then on Monday, thunderstorms along this trough axis and also up in the northeast. Here's that storm pushing into the western Bering and the western Aleutians, and rain in the Panhandle.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.